All right, welcome back to Fleccas Talks, podcast, episode 195. Today on the show, the DNC is finally over. We're going to cover all of the cringiest moments. Then, in Cringe of the Week, this Amazon show portrayed the King of England as a gay black disabled man. We're going to tell you why we're not surprised. Then, in Urban Decay, we have a cops ignoring crimes in broad daylight section you're not going to want to miss. And last but not least, wait until you hear the names of the products offered in Sexy Red's new cosmetic kits. Hint, it's quite disgusting. All this and more, it's Fleccas Talks, the podcast, episode 195, ranked the best new podcast of all time.
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words. But at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. Very cool. Very cool.
It's Fleccas Talks, the podcast featuring Richard Rapboy.
All right, one for one on the intro, as always. Guys, there's no ad this week, but we are finalizing our fall and holiday sponsors. So if you guys want to advertise with us on the show, Fleccas at fleccastalks.com is the email. Shoot me a message and describe your business, and we'll try to make it happen. A bunch of people have already emailed me, and they're great businesses. We're locking down the schedule for the fall, the holidays, and the rest of the year. So please message me if you'd like to advertise with us.
Yes, and it's also, sorry to hijack, but it's also Fleccas' birthday tomorrow.
It is my birthday.
So, you know, comment happy birthday, tickle Iago with a happy birthday comment, and Venmo him $5. Okay. I'm sure he can put it to good use with some schizophrenic purchase of some type.
Well, funny you mentioned that. There is something I want dearly, and I actually worry that my chances of getting it slip away as every year I get older. It's kind of like sand going through your fingers, you know?
Yeah.
And if I don't take a moment for myself here and there, I might miss the opportunity to own the American hot dog man life-size statue.
Wow. I didn't know that you felt so strongly about the American hot dog man life-size statue pouring ketchup on his forehead. That's what you...
How many lives are living strange? Where were you while we were getting high? Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. Where were you while we were getting high? Someday you will find me caught beneath the last light in a champion supernova in the sky. Someday you will find me caught beneath the last light in a champagne supernova, a champagne supernova in the sky.
What's going on with you?
All right, thank you. You don't have to Venmo me, but if you do, it would be greatly appreciated, and I will take Richard Rapboy and Chinese Donut Boy, who's coming to town to visit for my birthday, out to a nice seafood tower.
There you go.
So that's what'll happen. Love you guys. Very grateful for all your viewership. I'll never let you down. Happy birthday to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's get into the show.
All right.
All right, first things first, we have a lot to get to. We have a packed housekeeping. We might go a little long today. It's my birthday, so we can go an extra like 15 minutes. It's going to be a long one.
Yeah,
we got so much stuff and great schizo stuff, cringe, urban, uplifting, all the good things. Mm-hmm. First things first, the jobs. You know, Joe Biden makes all the jobs.
Yeah, he creates them himself. He hires them one by one.
He just makes them. And then after they get made, they get revised.
Yeah, so the Bureau of Labor Statistics just made their largest downward revision to the jobs numbers in 15 years. So they revised it to minus 818,000 jobs. Oopsie, we made an oopsie.
Maybe they just missed a zero or something.
Yeah. Have they fired the guy yet? Because he's been consistently being revised down every time. And the only thing that actually grew was government jobs. Huh. So that's the kind of thing that does happen in a socialist kind of communist era. All the real jobs go away, and then they hire a government henchman who basically can't be fired once they're in.
Yeah, great news.
But yeah, so that's the people are saying like, oh, they revise numbers down all the time. They do this, they do that. as a defense of the Biden and Kamala regime, and it's just not true. And the last time this happened at this scale was during the global financial crisis. Remember that little thing?
I do remember.
It was kind of a meltdown. I'm sure a lot of you had parents, maybe had to downsize your house. Dad was yelling at mom a little bit more than usual.
A lot of divorces.
Yeah, a couple, maybe even a suey. Even a suey or two, unfortunately. But yeah, those were dark times. And so we're at that level of revisions.
Hopefully no one notices the revision. A lot of people don't pay attention. They just listen to the first time where they go, oh, I made all these jobs. And then 2 weeks later, it gets revised. This is how CNN handled the situation with the revised job numbers.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so blame Trump. It's just another Trump lie from the Department of Labor.
Yeah, former governor of Rhode Island. She doesn't know the Bureau of Labor statistics. And just because Trump said it, maybe after the data got literally released. And there are like degenerate traders on Wall Street Bets on Reddit who are paying attention to the job numbers. This is a political leader who's on TV saying, I don't care about that.
Trump? What do you like, Trump?
Exactly.
So we are not surprised. We don't expect the media to ever be fair. We have some legacy media's election interference. It's the coverage. Harris coverage has been 84% positive, while Trump's coverage has been 89% negative.
Yeah, and that's mostly on analysis of ABC, CBS, and NBC, which is kind of a point we made last week, which was the people in the crowd at Colbert's show laughing at CNN. It's like once you realize the middle of the road, the more neutral networks are actually this skewed, that's like the real red pill. And, that's an in-kind contribution from those networks, right?
Exactly. They're in on it. But we're not surprised, and we actually do have some good developments potentially. It sounds like later today, RFK Jr. might drop out of the race in Arizona, where Trump is as well, and endorse Trump. Not 100%. There's some fighting within the team, it sounds like, and it sounds like Cheryl's telling him not to.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so here's the clip leading up to this situation.
Two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walt's presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision.
All right, do that one.
Yeah, that one sounds good. The second one, I don't like Waltz and Harris. So
maybe you can trade and get like RFK into the cabinet. Man, imagine him running the CIA.
Yeah,
that killed his whole family. That'd be kind of lit. It's like a movie.
He could kill the CIA, and then there's
get him back.
There's justice.
All right.
That woman, what is she? The campaign manager for him or something?
I think that's his VP.
Oh, really?
I don't know,
but
I didn't follow her that closely.
Slow on the podcast.
Yeah, you need podcast pace.
Podcast pace is a thing.
Rolling downhill.
She didn't have it.
Yeah, you can't do that. All right, let's get into the DNC. There's a lot of stuff that went viral. We're not going to cover all the crazy viral clips. I'm sure you guys have already seen it.
Yeah.
We're going to cover the most important ones at a little bit of a podcast pace.
Okay.
First things first, and most importantly, there was a lizard person there who was caught on camera acting like a lizard.
There she is.
Here she is talking in slow motion. And as you guys know, this is exactly how a lizard would act. This tells me that she's a lizard most of the time.
Yeah, and she's feeling with her tongue. You know how lizards smell with their tongue, so she's trying to get some sensory overload there. Or she's coked out of her mind and her whole face is numb.
Either one. I'm leaning towards the lizard.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so I do think she is a lizard type, probably up from the southern part of Antarctica where the geothermal things keep the lizard temperature hot.
Yeah, the geothermal vents.
The geothermal vents keep it really warm there. It's a temperature lizards like.
Okay, yeah. You know how you have to buy a heat rock for your lizard?
Yeah. So she's clearly a shapeshifter who gave a speech and is subverting. Next, the most important clip is Doug Emhoff's disgusting daughter was there.
economic speech she gave was a major disaster when she had to make an actual decision about her vice president.
Here she is, shoulder
passing
over.
Josh Shapiro for Tim Walz. I believe.
Yeah, and here she is putting her disgusting, stinky, hairy armpits on her dad's suit.
Yeah.
Which is very disrespectful. And
No deodorant, so at least no deodorant, so no marks. But
No deodorant, so no marks. That's a good point. I'm going to say what we're all thinking.
Okay.
She smells like shit.
Yeah, she definitely smells like shit. I don't think she smells good at all.
Yeah, and she's the fashion daughter, remember?
Yeah, and she, I mean, just look at this girl. This is a girl who wants attention. She's got the shitty tattoos all up and down her arm that have no significance. They're just part of a look, right?
Yeah.
She throws on the camo hat, and her dad probably looks at her before they get in the car on the way to the event and goes, is it worth picking a fight right now?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah.
And the way they're standing, she's shorter than him, so it's not even comfortable to have your arm up like that.
It doesn't make sense, so it's a pure power move how she wants to be seen, right?
Pure power move. She thinks it's humanizing him. And then there's even a part where they kind of try to break away. Like he tries to get away, and then she kind of like locks him back in as if she's like doing a good thing by humanizing him in this way. Yeah, so very disgusting, very stinky. And then the dad and the son, you can tell, just let her do whatever she wants because they're scared of her.
They're tired of it, yeah.
They're tired of it. They don't want to start a fight. She's going to go online and cause a scene. Yeah, this is fine. And she wears that stupid camo hat, and everyone's pretending that that is actually relatable with like the Rust Belt. There was a Rolling Stone article that talked about it.
Yeah, that's the genius work of this one small bit of Harris Waltz merch. The camouflage hat reclaims the rural and southern identity that mainstream Democrats have long ignored.
Yeah, the Balenciaga model who lives in New York City and has stinky armpits is really going to help win over the Rust Belt people who like camo.
Yeah, the party that tears down anything that even is remotely Confederate. Yeah, they're going to reclaim the South now because this hipster doofus wore a camo hat.
And then they made fun of J.D. Vance, who is actually more country than obviously her.
Yeah.
They made fun of J.D. Vance because he went to Yale. So they're like, oh, he's not relatable. He's not a country guy. He went to Yale.
Yeah, you should never try to make it out and achieve and get into a college that has like a 5% acceptance rate. That would be horrible.
Yeah. That, stupid tattoos, and that's pretty much it for her.
Last piece on her, thick glasses, blind as a bat.
Yeah, real Coke bottle glasses.
Coke bottle shit. So, stupid tattoos, I don't know. Nothing really to say other than she's trying too hard.
Yeah,
She's trying for a very specific image, and has a very specific negative attitude that Doug has to deal with all the time and just kind of give into.
Very entitled.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next cringy thing. This woman, let's just let it play.
My name in the Ojibwe language is Gigi Wewadam Ukwe, or in English, speaks with a clear and loud voice woman.
Oh.
I'm a member of the White Earth Nation, and my family is the Wolf Clan.
Oh, I bet.
You ready for a real name? Peggy Flanagan. Just like some Irish Midwestern. And that's actually Waltz's lieutenant governor in Minnesota. So she's on that land acknowledgement, dumb shit. I'm part of these made up word tribes. Peggy Flanagan.
Penny Flanagan. Speaks like clear woman. Clear speaks.
She should be making a casserole, not giving stupid speeches.
Yeah. I saw this thing that said, you died of cringe with the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Kind of applies to her.
Definitely.
AOC really tried to bring it as well. Here's her doing her best.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots that breathe, trampling on our way of life.
On our way of life.
Theater kid epidemic continues. That's a voice she's never done before. And, you got to pull it out for the DNC. A two-bit union buster. She was like watching an old 90s movie. Or
Our way of life.
Crazy.
She absolutely lost it there. And then in the speech, she later goes on to talk about how they need change. Like, it's all about change. And it's like, you're in power now.
Democrats have owned the White House for the last 20 years, except for 4 with Trump, right?
Exactly. And that's what this next clip demonstrates as well.
In all these speeches, as good as they were, is that she's in the White House right now. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. And for all of the talk about division and the problems in the country and people are hurting, Democrats have mostly controlled this country. Trump had it for 4. The Obamas and Biden had it for the rest of the time. And somehow, it's still all Trump's fault, and somehow she hasn't been at the center of it. So to me, that's still the glaring hole in this campaign that hasn't yet been solved at the convention.
Cooked him.
Yeah. You're not supposed to say that. That guy won't be invited back next year, whatever it is, whatever the next event is. They're like, all right, that's enough out of you, Mike.
Yeah, that was like a suicide mission.
Yeah, they'll get a shaved head black woman next time, and nobody will push back. And it'll be echoing the exact points. But yeah, and that's what we said, I think, last episode. The DNC is the chance for the people in power to tell you what it would be like if they had power.
Yeah, exactly. And no one even notices the irony because their audience is very brain dead, fake and gay.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then here we have the brain dead and gay part of that. So that guy was paid to be there and do that. And imagine watching his content and going, Kamala.
Kind of liking Harris, this ticket.
That's so good. Yeah, so that guy's a TikTok guy that they paid. He's an influencer, and that's the kind of content he makes. And then, like I said before, besides the gay and brain dead part, a lot of the DNC's audience there is just fake. Like we covered in the last episode, the paid actors that replied to the casting call. And then we also have this news story of people that were approached to join the DNC convention.
Yeah, this is a Reddit post, so I guess take it with a grain of salt, but it rings true to me.
It rings true to me, too.
My buddies and I were at the driving range today when 2 guys in suits and 1 woman in a dress approached us and asked if we had plans tonight. They offered us $150 each if we attended tonight's DNC. We're not very political and could use the $150, so we agreed. We thought they were kidding. Sure enough, they gave us each a ticket. We had to use that to get into the DNC in this side hallway, and then we'd be paid in cash. We thought it was a joke, but we wanted to put it to the test. Sure enough, we did it and were indeed paid $150. We took some free pizza and left. We're voting for Trump.
It rings true to me.
Yeah, rings true.
And that's why everyone claps so hard when Hillary Clinton goes on the stage. Doesn't that make more sense? Like, oh, there's Hillary. Why would everyone clap for her? They're all being paid $150. I would go... I would go crazy.
Yeah.
And then there was another Gen Z influencer there. Here's what she said.
As the saying goes, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So Gen Z, let's...
Wow. You know, as the saying goes, where is the food table? Yeah. I'm assuming there's some sort of finger food area, or maybe a dessert tray. Could someone please point me in the direction or at least provide the menu?
As the saying goes, where's the waiter? Where is our waiter? Double crunch chocolate chip cookie. Yeah, where's the buffet?
Feed now, me, please, as the saying goes. Need food now.
It had to be a food metaphor. So tough break there for that girl. You got to be kind of aware, right? That girl gets mocked online. I know who she is. She's friends with Harry Sisson. And it's a tough life. You got to be avoiding the pitfalls and not stepping in them, jumping, cannonballing in them yourself, right?
Yeah, you don't need to do any buffet references. And then the DNC Black Caucus had a meeting that was pretty honest with what's going on, and they kind of accidentally said the quiet part out loud.
We got 70 days to act right, y'all. That's right. Now, after 7 days, we can go back there and crazy. Right?
Yeah. So I got 70 days to act right. And then after 70 days, we can go back to acting crazy.
Do whatever we want.
And then here was the attempt to act normal, I guess. Here's some people, Women's Caucus, singing the national anthem.
This is, Randy Weingarten, who is the leader of the second largest public teachers union in America. So this is like an ad for homeschooling, another, like, remember who's in charge of, like, the curriculum and public schools and all that.
All right.
The twilight's last gleaming.
These people love America.
Yeah.
That's very patriotic, brother.
I know, brother.
Right on, brother. And then the DNC, as you know, the Democrats, especially Kamala, they've been anti-police in the past. There's an End Wokeness tweet that sums it up. It says, Kamala Harris, it's outdated, wrong, and backwards to think more police creates more safety. Meanwhile, this is outside the DNC event. There's a million cops everywhere.
Militant. Militant cops. Riot shields ready to be called up, real blue shirts.
Completely locked down. But hey, more police doesn't mean safety. And it's actually kind of true in this case because a Texas delegate got robbed at gunpoint. There's a New York Post headline.
Yeah, near the DNC. So
it didn't fully work. We also have Tim Waltz acting floppy again, and we juxtaposed it with Richard Simmons. There he goes.
Point it out.
I'm glad Richard Simmons isn't alive to see this.
Yeah, he'd be disgusted. Same with Chris Farley. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Chris Farley as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Someone tweeted me saying Tim Waltz is a shitty version of Chris Farley.
Yeah.
And then Michelle Obama was there. She grew out her goatee.
Yeah, crazy.
Whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above, this is our time.
Good point, Michelle.
Yep.
And then the Obamas seem to be in their speeches. They were both taking the low road.
Yeah.
Seems like that when they go low, we go high. That's over. I think Obama made a Trump dick size comment or reference.
Personal attack time.
Yeah, it's time for personal attacks, and obviously they can't lead with policy. They've been in charge the whole time, right? So,
exactly. And that's the big problem. Obviously, Kamala has limited policies that she's shown, but the ones that she does show are very radical and communist.
Yeah.
Can you read the Zero Hedge tweet?
Yeah, well, this is a compilation of Kamala's policies so far. Price controls for grocery stores, 28% corporate tax, 44.6% capital gains tax, 25% tax on unrealized gains, and that's just for people with over $100 million for now.
Yeah, that's what they always say.
And yeah, that's the same thing. Income tax was only for the super wealthy for now.
Until they get in.
Until they get in, and then they go, well, we'll spend that $500K, whatever. And so, yeah, all those corporate taxes, that'll be sure to help inflation, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the highest in history, the 44.6 capital gains tax.
Yeah.
That's the highest in history. Cernovich had a good tweet that kind of contextualizes the whole thing.
Well, yeah, for capital gains, which is what we're saying, if you continue on this path, it won't just be for the rich people, it'll be for everyone eventually. Cernovich said, if you own a house, subtract what you paid for it from the Zillow estimate. Be prepared to pay 25% of that in a check to the IRS. That's your unrealized capital gains tax owed under the Kamala Harris proposal.
Very interesting.
So,
and
yeah.
there's a follow-up tweet with specifics.
Yeah, if you paid $250 for a house, Zillow says it's worth $500. So 25% of $250,000 is $62,500 owed to the IRS. I mean, it's simple. Unrealized capital gains is crazy. It doesn't even make sense. And it's just become a retarded idea to target someone who's valued at $10 billion on paper because they created Facebook or something.
Yeah.
And then it's almost certainly going to trickle into other areas that aren't good. And capital gains tax like that, I don't know. If you want to encourage foreign investment or something, if you want people to shock the market and get out before that, imagine if you see on the horizon capital gains tax, it's about to be 44% in 3 months. You go, nuke it. I'm up 200% over 5 years. Nuke it. The stock market would tank. And then that's obviously everyone's 401ks, everyone's IRAs.
And this isn't even talking about inflation either.
Yeah.
Which is already on top of this.
And the inflation, let's tax corporations more. Those greedy corporations who raise prices on you for no reason at all. Even though their margins are like this. Walmart's revenue goes up like this and their margin is flat.
Mm-hmm. But hey, don't worry about it because Kamala brings joy. So don't worry about the details and the decimation of the middle class. Mm-hmm. The news is talking about how joyful the Kamala campaign is.
For bringing back the joy. She does it all with a sense of joy. Compassionate, careful, joyous leader.
And yesterday, what you saw is joy.
And it was the power of joy.
You know what I love more than anything? The joy. You can't underestimate the power of joy in this campaign. Don't underestimate the joy.
A lot of joy.
Talking points went out, guys.
Talking points went out. Just say it's all joyful and nice. They have the gay TikTok dancer and the fat lady, and then no one look at the details or the policy plans.
Yeah, the huge economic disruption that'll happen when we're on kind of the shakiest economy ever right now. More normal people than ever are struggling. Credit card debt, I think, is at a recent high, at least 20 year or so. But so far, the most unanimous messaging we've seen from them are JD Vance is weird and we bring the joy. So that's 2.
Yep, and then while this all happens, they continue to not prioritize American citizens that are struggling, rightfully so. And here's their new plan to give illegals no down payment opportunities to buy a house.
A taxpayer-funded group is offering $30,000 to new home buyers. Lauren, you cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
Why would an American citizen apply for a taxpayer-funded program to get $30,000 for a new home? I mean, it's wild. The group is called Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They offer payment assistance in Oregon to DACA recipients, asylees, green card holders, basically any non-U.S. citizen. This is state-sponsored discrimination, Stuart. That's what it is. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So if you're not a citizen, lucky you.
Par for the course, right?
Especially if you broke the rules to get in.
And then we talk about how, do you think 25 million bodies here in America, extra bodies, affects the housing market at all? And it's like, not only does it rise the housing costs and like displace people or take away some cheap options, but now they're actually subsidizing your competition to non-citizens. So
exactly.
Very disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Kamala did that.
Kamala did that. Joe Byron.
Joe Byron did that.
We're now moving on to our last page of housekeeping. Make sure you guys help us juice the post, tickle the algo, leave a like, leave a comment, then comment again, then start yapping. Notifications need to be on. P.O. Box needs to be full. Bonus Land needs to be joined. So if you guys join Bonus Land, make sure you send me a screenshot and I will follow you back on the social media of your choice. And now we're into the final page of housekeeping, which is my page where we cover what we want, and it's my birthday.
Oh.
So first things first, Muscle Pig.
Muscle Pig, let's see him. He's shredded.
There he is.
There he is.
He's a muscle boy. He's Muscle Pig. Look at that thing.
Look at his nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting.
I didn't even see that part.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should even show that.
Well.
So that's Muscle Pig. And I'm assuming they gave him coconut oil. There's like an old story with the pigs that they were trying to find a calorie-dense filler to add to their feed. And they fed them at one point coconut oil, and then it made them all jacked.
Oh.
So they had to stop doing it. And that actually would work for humans as well, because as we know, pigs are early iterations of the human hybrid.
Yeah, chimeras, right?
Yeah. So it would work for us. If you eat a lot of coconut oil, it will make you more jacked as long as you're eating less than 50 carbs a day. It's basically a keto thing.
Okay.
Pretty interesting.
All right.
All right, next, the dog who turns into a human, the shapeshifter.
Security camera captures dog transforming into a human.
So there he is. We zoomed in on it a little bit.
You can't really see.
And then he starts to shapeshift. There's there half and half. Wow.
Okay.
And now he's a person.
All right.
Wow, it's very compelling stuff. It's my birthday, so this is real.
Very compelling, yeah, very compelling stuff. Real.
Admit it. He has to admit it because it's my birthday. All right, next, Osama bin Laden liked Joe Biden because of how incompetent he was.
Osama bin Laden banned al-Qaeda from trying to assassinate Joe Biden because he believed he would be an incompetent president and lead the U.S. into a crisis.
Okay, Osama, not all bad.
Osama was evil, but I don't think anybody said he was dumb. You know, he survived a long time too on the run. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember.
Very evil, but kind of had his finger on the pulse a little bit.
It's a good point. Speaking of humanizing a villain, we have this funny point that Memetic Sisyphus made because Disney's doing these new movies that are remakes of like old movies where they give the backstory of the villain and then they make him appear in like a good way. Can you read the tweet and then Memetic Sisyphus' reply?
Yeah, somebody said Cruella de Vil's original motivation was to bludgeon puppies to make a fur coat. So years later, young Cruella was written as something akin to a sympathetic girl boss with the apparent expectation that you'd let that slide. Female villains have to be misunderstood heroes now. And Memetic Sisyphus said, humanizing villains is a big trend for millennial entertainment. Wicked, the new Lion King they're releasing, Cruella, Maleficent. It's a cultural trend that shapes how lefties see the world. Bad people aren't bad. They're rational and victims of circumstance. It means evil can simply be fixed by the right policies. Every criminal is Aladdin.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Girl bosses specifically. The women, they're trying to make that right. And then also it's a combination of Disney just trying to squeeze the juice out of every piece of intellectual property they fucking have. Yeah. So it's kind of like two events in a confluence reading to some terrible content.
Exactly. All right, next is the AI thumbnail someone made for us.
Yeah, what is this? The Miss Frizzle's abortion bus?
Abortion bus, that's the last thumbnail, and it got turned into the Magic School Bus.
Yeah, you look like an abomination here.
I know.
Yep.
That's why I don't do that.
All right.
And then our last piece of housekeeping, someone tweeted, "Hear me out, a white swan event."
Not a black swan.
Because the black swan event was going to be them killing Trump. Mm-hmm. So they already tried. That was the black swan event that everyone's been talking about. It was that. Now, the options are open for a white swan event, something good to happen.
Okay, I'm with it.
That's positive, right?
I'm hoping for it, yeah. But, hey, I'm not really ready for it.
I'm pretty sure they have a couple more black swan events.
It's like for every 5 black swans, you get 1 white swan.
That's a good point. All right, that is the end of housekeeping. We are moving on to Cringe of the Week. All right, our first story in Cringe of the Week is the new King of England show on Amazon.
Yeah, My Lady Jane is the show, and here he is. He's like young, too. They couldn't even get an old one.
Gay, black, and disabled.
Yeah, that's the big 3 for, the oppressed community. And I don't know. What do you have to say about this? Did we cover this already briefly when it first came out?
I don't remember.
I think there were some promotional materials we covered, but we wanted to circle back.
And just to follow up, too, the show has already been canceled after season 1.
1 season. And then they go, oh, man, what was it? And they're in a meeting, and they're like, the writers just didn't jive with the director's vision. And it's like, you made the King of England gay, black, and disabled. Yeah. I feel like there's a huge lack of adult in the room.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't do that. That's totally disqualifying and will turn people off before they even give it a chance, right?
Exactly.
And so TV shows, remember, it used to be like, okay, we needed this guy and we need a character that women can relate to. Like old sitcoms, they'd add somebody like early in, you'd see a character in the pilot, and then they wouldn't be there on episode 3. Mm-hmm. People just didn't like him. They're testing with audiences and all that. And they used to be reactive, and now it just seems like they're shoehorning as much trash in as they can, and then the goal is to see if you'll put up with it.
Yeah,
exactly. The goal is social engineering more than it is
making a good show,
making someone happy and watching it.
And then when it fails, instead of saying what did we do wrong, they're going to say, maybe we needed a trans person in the writing room.
Yeah, and Amazon was all those movies that you were complaining about last week with all the old ladies in it. So they're on an L streak, I think.
Yeah,
I think Amazon has a bad person running their studio.
They're in on it. Mm-hmm. And then it's just also, in my opinion, it's just another way to rewrite history at a time where no one reads books, knows anything about what happened over the last 2,000 years, doesn't read any documents. You kind of just watch the show and go, oh, Black King of England from like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone must have been all racially mixed up like it is now. It's probably similar.
Some dumb guy goes, oh, no, I'm pretty sure they found his bones. Like, yeah, he existed.
Exactly. So we have a bit, we have like a meme or two. Here's Donald Trump presented by Netflix, black woman.
There she is.
And then someone did an AI, because AI also is not racially accurate when it comes to historical stuff.
Certain AI. Grok, the Twitter AI, is the only one that seems to let you create offensive shit and good, realistic stuff. Like somebody said, make George Washington, and they made basically George Washington.
So someone in the less base AI program said, British king eating watermelon. And there they are.
Yep.
We was kings.
The AI made a racist because they were woke.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a backwards racism thing there.
Yeah, we was kings.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. We talked about this the other day, how we was kings is something a lot of black people say.
And it's become a meme, like we were kings in Africa. And
we was Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
They invented everything.
And there's kind of a thing there where, one of you was.
Mm-hmm.
Every culture, every civilization ever had like a king or a leader or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't fucking all of you.
You didn't invent kings.
Yeah. So
you had a king.
I don't get
one of you was.
I don't get the point either. Like, we were kings, and it's like some medieval peasant who doesn't own any land, have no titles, saying that like I was a king. It's like what? Yes, one of you was. I don't get it.
Exactly, and they're probably more brutal than the European kings were.
Cannibalism, a little cannibalism,
something, killing each other for nothing. All right, let's get to our next story. The ChatGPT students. We've covered this here and there, but we have a new clip where someone's taking a test or doing an accounting exam, I believe, and they're just fully AIing the whole thing.
Yeah, this is a college class for a med student first. He's ripping his in.
Throwing his in.
Going to Answer AI. And I think this is an advertisement for Answer AI. So.
There you go. You got a perfect score, buddy.
Yeah.
And this is similar to what we've said about the gay guys in our world. Like our Chad straight guys, because of all the poisons and toxic stuff in our environment, are now just normal guys. Mm-hmm. And then our normal guys are gay guys. And then our gay guys are trans.
Everybody moved down a rung on the ladder.
Exactly. Everyone got knocked over a peg. It's the same with the students. The smart kids don't fully learn and are now just normal students. Our normal students are now the dumb kids. And then our dumb kids can't even read or do math.
Functionally retarded, yeah. So everybody got moved down a rung too. And then I described it. Let's watch this Deloitte interview first before we do that.
Very good. Let's kick it off here. So question one right out of the gate here. Talk to me a little bit about some common audit risks that you've had to face and how you mitigated them.
Sure, that's a very good question. So in terms of common audits and risk and mitigations, one common audit risk I've encountered is a fraud risk, right? Especially in the revenue recognition. To mitigate this, I focus on detailed transaction testing and revenue cutoff procedures to ensure that everything aligns.
So he's got the full interview with Deloitte, AI'd up.
Yeah, so he's using AI, and so everybody moved down a rung. The dumb kids are dumber than ever. But the new age of like smart people are kind of like using tools to get them through college, interviews, whatever. And they've kind of become just a pass-through knowledge. Like, oh, this knowledge, I know how to get it. It'll pass through my brain for 1 second. I'll survive that moment, not retain any of the knowledge, but I'll have gotten the answer right.
Exactly.
So we're kind of worried. We're worried on the future with AI. We already have DEI doctors. Now, what if your Asian doctor was an AI guy?
That's a good point. Exactly. We already have unqualified people with DEI, and now our qualified people are doing this.
Yeah. What if my Asian doctor, Dr. Chang, who I'm so happy to see, what if he's just been using AI? And what if he goes back and searches ChatGPT after he takes my temperature and taps my knee and all the stuff that he has to do?
We got to make sure that our doctors are Asian with strict parents.
Yeah. Strict parents is the key, I guess. We have to start checking their pedigrees and stuff.
That's a good point. And then there's like actually a giveaway for people using AI because AI tends to use repeating words or certain words more often.
Yeah.
We have a graph here. Can you read the tweet and then the graph?
Yeah, and this is for medical students specifically. Are medical studies being written with ChatGPT? Well, we all know ChatGPT overuses the word delve. It's just a word that ChatGPT loves. Like, oh, let's delve into it. Like, I'm about to cover this topic. Let's delve in. Look below it how often the word delve is used in papers on PubMed. 2023 was the first full year of ChatGPT, and it's an absolute straight line up.
That's a shitcoin graph.
Yeah. So they are using AI to write medical studies, and they don't really retain the knowledge. It just passes through their brain briefly, long enough to get a paper published on PubMed, and it's looking ugly out there.
It looks like everyone's using AI.
Everyone's shifting one unit over, and nobody's smart. So if you have an old school doctor who's kind of seen it all, you really got to tell him not to retire.
Yeah, and make sure his next generation is not using AI because, as we all know, if the power goes out, no one's going to know how to do anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens. All right, our next page of cringe, car salesmen. We have a bunch of car salesman types that are putting unqualified people behind the wheel.
This isn't your typical cringe. We're going to learn some lessons here and then reevaluate the state of buying a car in America and what's going on and what competing motivations there are and who's kind of running this show now. You need to update your mental models from the old fat guy with the plaid coat, Danny DeVito and Matilda used car salesman. It's a different level of sleazy now. They're not trying to pass off shitty cars to you anymore, although they could be still. But they're trying to financially fucking scalp you, right? So here's this one guy who inspired this section.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Steve-O, got me rolling. Today I got my man D here, approved on this 2017 Nissan Altima. First time buyer, only $500 down. Hey, D, how was your experience here today, my man?
It was good, man. My boy took care of me, man.
Yes, sir.
Low down payment, easy process. I'll come holler at him.
Man, my boy went all over the city. Nobody else can make it happen. What I do, man?
Take care of business.
Yes, sir.
Take care of business.
So, first time buyer, 2017 Nissan Altima, not an expensive car, $500 down. right?
And he got him approved, meaning they tricked the financing company into doing it. And then the way he describes it is all you need to do is bring an ID and a piece of mail with your name on it.
Yeah. So that's one of the key things is notice he doesn't say we sold a car today or he bought the car or anything like that. It's we got him approved.
We got him on the hook for a car.
Yeah. And God knows what the APR or the monthly payment is or how long it's going to take until the repo man comes and gets it. But this is what car salesmen are doing.
Good time to be bullish on repo businesses.
Yeah, I think it's time to invest in a tow truck, boys.
And then this next one is another example. Listen to his monthly payment for how long.
Guys, it's Destin to Drive. I have Mr. James approved for just $500 down, $1,000 a month for 84 months. Book an appointment and I get you driving off today.
$1,000 a month for 84 months. $84,000.
And that's a slightly nicer car, but it's got to be used, right?
It's a used car. They're at a Nissan dealership, and that's a Lincoln. Yeah. And I looked up that car, full price, fully loaded, 2025, and I think it's $70,000 to $75,000. That one's used, and the used versions are like $30,000 to $40,000.
And definitely older, yeah, 30 to 40 is what I would say. And then
that guy's paying double, basically.
Yeah, and so, and also I forgot to mention the first guy was, I went to his Instagram page. He's like, oh, I'm a 2-time felon and I made it now, selling cars. So they're still felons. Mm-hmm. Car salesmen can still be felons. It's all about just getting you in a car and driving away and getting you approved. And I want people in the audience to understand, like when a used car salesman or a car salesman in general comes in and sits you down, and they want to talk to you about like what kind of payment you can afford. It's like, don't worry about that. Tell me the price of the car, and then we'll get to the financing at the end, right? And then I'll figure.
Yeah, they do it backwards first.
Exactly. They go, okay, so all your payment has to be is under $600, and then they'll cook the books to whatever shitty financial situation can happen to get you on the hook, basically.
Yeah, and then a lot of the reasons people are forcing people into cars and making sales no matter what is because there's like that online trend of car salesmen sells like the conferences.
Yeah, Andy Elliott is kind of the tip of the spear on this. So let's play a clip from him just to refresh your guys' memory. We've actually done them on Cringe before when they said I only need like to spend an hour with my kids every day.
Yeah, his wife said my kids only need 15 minutes of my time and I interact with them and I'm not on my phone and that's enough.
David, what if someone kidnapped your son David and they told him they were going to kill him unless you sold 40 cars a month? How many would you sell? Yeah. Why somebody got to kidnap your kid to sell 40? Why do things have to get bad?
That's like the mic drop moment. Like, why does someone have to kidnap your kid for you to double your output,
You
right?
need to put people in cars no matter what. And this kind of reminds me, remember we covered the lawyers who get criminals out of jail on like technicalities, and they're usually guilty, and then they get them off even though they're criminals that should go to jail. We have an example of one of those to refresh your memory.
Good morning, everybody. JG here from the Harris County Criminal Courthouse. Just wanted to make a quick video and congratulate my client Christopher on the dismissal of his felony case.
A little Freudian slip there. I had to congratulate my client.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it doesn't work. Some people really, I guess, are truly underqualified, or maybe there's some honest dealers out there.
Mm-hmm.
This guy didn't qualify for a car loan, and he smashed the place up.
Customer broke windows and vandalized the store as they weren't approved for a car loan.
Smashed up the place because you couldn't get into that 2014 Nissan Altima.
Yeah. And at the kind of to wrap this segment up, getting a new car is a privilege, not a right. And when you treat it like it's a right, the standards fall to the wayside and you end up with like a bubble or a crash, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is what happens when my parents went to college, like years ago. Half the kids in the class didn't go to college. Yeah. And that was fine. Like not everyone needs to go to college. But now it's treated like everyone has to go to college. And then the quality of the degrees mean way less, and everyone's in debt and kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So it's like there's like a change in when it comes to the entire environment. There's a change in perspective where it's like, oh, you need to go to college. Everyone goes to college. Then what does that do to college? It makes it way less valuable. Everyone needs to get a car. What's that going to do to everybody? Put them in debt and getting them into predatory loans.
Yeah, I really respect someone who drives a reliable kind of piece of junk car, you know, as long as they're financially healthy and like putting away money that would otherwise go to a car payment. It's like, use it to get ahead, right? Get on some predatory shit. If you need to put $500 down and that's the max you can do, you don't need a car right now. You have to wait and get $5,000 or get something more. Buy a car in cash if you're buying that low end. And then I guess the Andy Elliott thing, they kidnapped the guy's kids, so he has to sell 40 cars. So that explains the $500 down. I got him approved, right?
Yeah, I got you approved, man. I'm really happy for you. And a couple more sales will get my kids back.
It's like, just sign here. Just sign here. It's like,
don't read it.
It's taken. It's like, all right, I'm at 38, you sick son of a bitch. Where's Trevor?
Here, come on in. We'll get you the...
He's all sweaty in a suit.
That's so good.
But yeah, so guys, a lot of shadiness in the car sales business. Do your research. I don't know. I want it to become a lesson for people. Like, this is obviously a meme. The funny part is, like, some of this stuff could be faked or social media wise, right? Like a little embellished, like, oh, we got him in for nothing. And then they post it on social media to get some other 80 IQ sucker in the door.
Good point.
Where they actually scalp you for so much. And they don't make that much money off the cars. They make money off the financing of it at a lot of these dealerships. So, you know, keep it 100 and do your research and don't be in a rush and be willing to walk away. Otherwise you'll get smoked. Some of these people are dumb. They're just like, wait, the mental math in their head is the extent of, okay, it's $400 a month after I pay $500 now. And that's it. They don't think about how they're paying twice the retail value of the car over time. They don't think about insurance costs or anything like that. So
they get dropped off at the dealership with an Uber. And
knowing they're going home.
And they have $700 in their pocket.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm getting a car today.
Yep.
And they can smell that. All right, our last story from Cringe. Josh Sider, former Bachelor contestant.
Faked his own death. We've covered him on the show several times.
Faked his own death. Very unique person. Now he's trans. And we've thought that maybe he's doing this as a bit. He has a new clip out on that he posted to his story that pretty much confirms it's a bit, but we need to kind of cover.
Hey everyone, I'm outside the DNC showing my support to Palestinians. I know if I was in their country, they would accept me with open arms, so I just want to do the same here. So,
yeah, so it's a bit.
Kind of, I don't know.
Maybe he's like a pro-Israel guy or something, and he's still a Democrat.
The line about Palestinians, he knows they would accept him. That seems like he's finally mask off. It's a bit, but
he's also got acrylic nails on.
That's like $100 at the salon.
And he has them on all the time, and he does videos every day in a dress with glam makeup on. So if he's doing a bit...
It's a bit, but he has all the makeup, and it's a bit, but he has a closet full of women's dresses that he's constantly changing out of that fit him.
And he goes out in public every day doing the bit.
So it's a bit, haha.
So my theory is that he's actually trans.
Okay.
And then he's more pro-Israel, anti-Palestine, because they are anti-LGBT over there.
Okay.
So he's trying to show the Democrats, which he's a part of. He said he's an old school Democrat. I think he's trying to show them, hey guys, siding with Palestine is not the right move here. What would happen to me if I went there? I think he's doing a bit to the Democrats, but he is a Democrat and he's still really trans.
Okay, you're losing me. I think there's just a broad scale of mental illness and he's somewhere on it.
Yeah, he's on it.
That's all we know.
I agree. And then we do have a new theory as to what makes people gay, and this is right up my alley and what I believe.
Yeah.
Can you give it a read? It's a little long, but you don't have to read probably the last paragraph.
It's a 4chan post, and it says, let's take a look at my hypothesis for homosexuality. Right off the bat, there is no genetic incentive for homosexuality. It breeds itself right out of existence. Psychology tries to find ways to defend it as some sort of social mechanism, but this again runs into the brick wall of going extinct almost instantly on evolutionary timescales. I do think, however, there is another explanation for homosexuality: parasites. Yes, parasites. Take, for example, Toxoplasma gondii. When it infects rodents, it alters their behavior to make them more likely to be eaten by cats, where Toxoplasma gondii can then reproduce. Homosexuals have an astoundingly high rate of infection by parasites, according to the National Institute of Health. 70% of all homosexual men are infected with intestinal parasites, as opposed to only 10% of straight men. And he gives a source. This astoundingly high rate of infection by parasites might then explain why homosexuals have such an increased urge to fornicate. These intestinal parasites always need new hosts. Without a viable vector of transmission, the parasite dies. The incredibly high rate of parasitic infection amongst the homosexual population explains why they are so sexually degenerate. Their behavior is being altered in much the same way as the rat's behavior is altered by Toxoplasma gondii in order to allow the parasite to survive. And this would also explain why the media is freaking out about ivermectin. Ivermectin is potentially the most effective parasite-removing drug available. An anecdotal case in my family gives me strong suspicion that ivermectin might actually be a cure for homosexuality. My cousin was a homosexual until he was prescribed ivermectin for COVID. After taking it, he filled a toilet bowl with intestinal worms. Shortly thereafter, he lost all attraction to men and found women sexually attractive. He was repulsed by his previous nature.
I think we cracked it.
I think it rings a little true, yeah. I'd like to do more A/B testing, and this guy's anecdotal evidence with his cousin, we need to match this in a lab. We need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and then a lot of times with parasites, it makes people like crave sugar and bad foods because that's what they feed off of. So it kind of has the ability to take over your brain and behavior.
For sure.
And that makes a lot of sense to me, and that's why everyone's scared of ivermectin. So if you have any gay people in your life, slide them some ivermectin, see what happens.
All right. Fair.
All right, we're moving on. Don't get too down or too depressed. It's going to get a little worse. We're getting into Urban Decay. First things first in Urban, we have our cops ignoring crimes in broad daylight section. Here's the first one.
Minneapolis for the first one.
Minneapolis.
Like, what the fuck are you here for? Y'all don't do shit.
So they drifted, hanging out of the car right in front of the cop. Cop doesn't even do anything.
Yeah. And this is a frustrated citizen. Y'all don't even do shit. And, you know, what are you going to do? Impound the car, go crazy on them? I don't know necessarily. Obviously, they're misbehaving, right? And we're more into the discipline game. But when you're kind of a piece of shit in public and you're acting recklessly, the part of the role of policing and intervention, societal intervention, is getting you on the record. And then by the time it's your fifth moving violation with 3 urban youths hanging out of the car, drifting past a cop, then it kind of escalates, right? Penalties get higher, things happen. And so if you miss all those initial stops, it emboldens them to do more. And then you have less of a case against them when they finally end up in court after they smash a pedestrian in the crosswalk on Minneapolis Boulevard or whatever.
Or worse, they eventually like kill an old lady, which we'll get to in a few clips. And then it's like, we could have had him in jail for the last 15 things he did, but because it wasn't this enough value or not enough damage, we didn't get him. And then you actually end up, we finally get him, but because he killed somebody.
Yeah.
This next one is another example from Minnesota as well. I think it's Minneapolis as well.
Sometimes they leave cell phones, receipts.
That's a kid?
Yeah, that's a stolen car.
Kids speeding past the deputies assigned to stopping this very act. In this case, Sergeant Vi could not follow for her safety.
Yeah, so you can't follow and arrest them for safety reasons.
Well, that might have been with the news crew following them there.
Oh.
So if that's the news crew, but still, the point stands. Like, maybe news crew, stay here. We're going to go take care of this visible 2-man stolen car teenagers team.
Yeah, and then also in Minnesota, they don't prosecute for stolen cars that are less than $25,000. So the poor people just keep getting fucked over, and then the people who are doing the crimes just completely are allowed to.
Yeah, that's like insane. Under 25,000, it's like those are the people who it affects so much more to have a car missing. Like the car, how I get to work, how I take my kids to school. Yeah, fuck me. It's a beater. I didn't finance it with Joe Gets You Rolling in the cringe section.
And then it's like, do you think the criminals don't know that there's a $25,000 ceiling?
Yeah.
So they go, which car should we steal? This one or the Hyundai or the Mercedes?
Hold on, let me get on Auto Trader right quick.
Yeah.
$24.99, Kelly Blue Book. Let's go.
And then this next clip is in Oakland, California, where there's open air prostitution happening, and the guy asked the cop if he's going to stop it.
So is that legal right there?
What?
Prostitution?
But only in the city.
Okay.
Can't touch them.
Can't touch them?
They're victims.
Human trafficking?
They need help. Exactly.
I see. All right, see ya.
Yeah, so you can't arrest them because they're victims of human trafficking, and I guess they're victimized like 10 times a day.
Yeah. Oh, she's getting victimized right now in that car parked in the alley. But we can't do anything because they have no agency at all. And your block where they're whoring on, that's ruined now.
Yeah, well,
remember the building you owned?
It's ruined, but they're victims, so you can't do anything about it.
So, I mean, this is just the whole section in general, right? Like cops, they get hated by the left. Then they get hamstrung. Like this isn't the individual cops policy, right? Any of them.
Of course not, never.
But like they're hated by the left for over policing, and then they're now starting to get hated by the right because they're hamstrung and can't do anything to like tangibly clean up neighborhoods or get the actual menaces off the street. And it's just becoming like a job where if I was a cop these days, I'd be like, I'm just waiting to get to the pension. I'm not going to be a hero. And then what happens to society when things like that happen on a grand scale, right?
Exactly. The repeat offenders keep getting out and repeating their offenses. And then you get situations like this where an 80-year-old woman was killed in a carjacking.
Security video caught the moment John Ayala heard screaming outside the house where he was working on a fence.
I mean, I didn't know how else to respond but to immediately run up here. You could definitely tell that she was in trouble.
Police say the 80-year-old woman was carjacked as she was getting ready to take several dogs for a walk. 2 panicked dogs ran from the car as the suspect backed up and ran over the woman. Ayala was on the phone with 911, giving CPR when he felt her take her last breath.
I can't believe that something like this is happening to this community, and that we even had to participate in trying to help this woman.
Police later found the victim's car abandoned in South Seattle. One of the dogs in the car was dead in a trash can at Brighton Playfield. Hours later, community leaders in the Central District held their monthly public safety meeting, an auditorium filled with people saying something needs to change.
Yeah, something needs to change.
So the guy killed a woman to steal her car only to dump the car later. So it's not even like a chop shop or a plan. It's a pure impulsive criminal. And he stabbed the dog, the one dog that got left in the car. He stabbed it to death and threw it in a trash can. And here that guy is. They've since arrested him. His name is Jamed Haynes, and he's a 48-year-old.
Oh, gee, too old for this.
Oh, gee, this is a young man's game. So he attacked a woman around 10 a.m., broad daylight, near the intersection of Martin Luther King Jr. Way and East Harrison Street.
Could have maybe avoided that.
80-year-old white woman, Martin Luther King Jr. Street. Got to separate those. And he was booked in the King County Jail for homicide and animal cruelty. And the man had a knife and Subaru keys when he was arrested Wednesday morning by his residence. The knife had blood on it, and the keys were tested to match Dalton's car, according to police. The suspect was previously convicted of vehicular homicide in 1993.
A little bit of a repeat offender.
So, repeat offender, dumb, 48 years old.
Kills an old lady.
Yeah. And I wonder how many times he drifted past or stole another car, and the police said, no, we're not chasing him.
Or stole from a store, and they said, well, he only stole a couple bags of chips, or
Yeah.
he only stole a little bit.
It's not his first crime. The carjacking the grandma, that's not the first time he's been on police radar. He's probably been let go. He's probably been, a cop said it's not worth it to chase or anything like that. And so that's what that shitty policing section leads to, right?
Exactly. And then our next story, a teen shot over video games. Next two stories are kind of quick, but...
Yeah, North Texas man arrested after shooting and killing 16-year-old over a video game because he was smack talking. Residents received a phone call around 1 p.m. Sunday at the residence. Victim's sister witnessed the shooting and told police that her brother and Jones had been playing video games on Sunday afternoon. While they played, the two exchanged words commonly associated with smack talking, according to the warrant. As things continued to escalate, Jones indicated that he needed to leave, and Swindell said he couldn't wait to play the game again and beat Jones, a detective wrote in the document. I like the translation of what these guys were saying to each other, which was probably the yappiest, like loudest, dumb shit, and then a nice detective who's trying to contextualize it. Jones said, "You can't even beat my bleep little boy," and he pulled a handgun and placed it against the teen's chest and fired, the warrant says. After the shooting Swindell, Jones asked the teen's sister not to call the cops. So this is like a animal level IQ.
Real stupid behavior.
Living just in the moment, no forethought. Oh, shit, I killed him. Please don't call the cops. It's like, you're going to jail.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because it's not like it's back in the day when like the king couldn't be disrespected.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you have in your life where you'd have such high standards that if someone disrespects you, you have to kill them?
Nothing.
It's like, what are you, like the prince?
Yeah.
Can't be disrespected. Got to kill the.
My honor was on the line, and it was a
there's
video
no
game.
honor. There's no honor.
Yeah.
You're playing video games. You're an old man playing video games, and you killed a kid for it. There's no honor. There's no standards that you have that can't be. No lines can be crossed, and you get disrespected. Now someone's got to die. You don't live like that.
Low IQ shit.
Very low IQ shit. And then there's another story where the media covers or does another euphemism. Mumbling NYC maniac beats 66-year-old woman in a random attack in broad daylight.
Random.
Mumbling psychopath. Mumbling maniac.
Good alliteration there from New York Post.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our next story. Sexy Red's Cosmetics.
Yeah. Real disgusting pig of a woman. You want to start the video or what?
Let's play the video.
Okay.
Lip gloss brand, and the names for my lip gloss is something that nobody would have ever thought of. I got one called Nut, and it's the color of some nut. I got one called Gonorrhea. It's green like gonorrhea. I got one called Yellow Discharge, like how girls be having yellow discharge. Booty hole pink, booty hole brown, coochie juice. And coochie juice is clear with silver glitter. It's cute, like the cute, and it smell good. And it's so like, people gonna talk but other people was like, you is a marketing genius, because the sold so fast. And it smell good too. I be thinking of all.
Wow. Yeah, let me put that yellow discharge and gonorrhea on my lips.
Yeah, that'll make me hood rich. That'll make me beautiful.
Yeah. And then, like, it's funny because this is what she's up to. And then someone's like, oh, we got to get this woman a music contract.
Yeah.
We can influence the kids with this.
Yeah.
We got to get this lady signed and give her $1 million.
That's whoever's backing her is on some real damaging the country shit.
Yeah. We need the kids to see this.
Yeah.
Well, don't get too down or too depressed.
Okay.
We're moving on to Uplifting Gold, and we have a full Uplifting Gold section with a lot of effort put into it.
Okay.
First things first, urban uplifting, a little transition, a little brackish water transition phase here.
For sure.
This guy cuts his
Crocodile
ankle.
would feel comfortable in these waters.
Yeah.
Alligator.
Striped bass could spawn here.
Okay.
This guy cuts his ankle monitor off, and look what happened.
I'm done being locked up. I'm done with this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. I'm done. There we go, for good this time.
What's up, gangster? My name is Kobe, and I can find any location in the entire world. To find the exact location of your ankle monitor, I slowed down your video to look for important clues. First, I noticed a car with a California license plate driving by. Next, I noticed you were on a bridge. And last clue was this triangle structure in the background. I then spent the next 6 hours of my day going through the 25,000 different bridges in the state of California. Finally, I got my big break. I found the bridge. It was called the Shakespeare Bridge in Los Angeles, California. I grabbed my laptop and drove 3 hours to the Shakespeare Bridge. I started looking around for the exact area that you threw the ankle monitor. Finally, I located it directly in the bushes. I jumped directly over the bridge and went straight to the target. I secured the ankle monitor in my case and went straight to the Los Angeles Police Department. Now, I may not be able to find you, but Sergeant Bedewick and his 30,000 officers will. Good luck, gangster.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
Love slightly autistic, maybe.
Yeah. You got to use it for good.
Yeah, exactly. Next is Uplifting. This is a alternative fan fiction of what could have happened with George Floyd.
Yeah, walks into the store to get some snacks, accidentally hands over a fake 20. Cashier looks at him weird. Oh, damn, my bad, bro. Didn't even notice that was fake. Immediately offers to pay with real money. A few minutes later, cops pull up outside. Officer Chauvin approaches him, looking serious. Stays calm, smiles at him. Good evening, officer. Is there an issue I should be aware of? He explains the situation. No tension at all. I get it. Totally my mistake. I'll cooperate fully. Let's keep this smooth. Chauvin nods, appreciates the respect. Lets him handcuff. Ride in the squad car is peaceful. Gets booked and out of jail in no time. Jokes about how wild the day could have been. Oh, an officer? I can breathe. Everyone respects him for owning up to my mistake. Becomes local legend. Mentors kids in the community.
See? That's how it could have gone.
Isn't that the funny part of the whole George Floyd thing is how quickly he would have been released and how much it wouldn't have even been a big deal for his whole crime?
Exactly.
Crazy.
And then there's the George Floyd Minion. As you guys know, we were big fans of that. Someone made a new George Floyd Minion picture.
Yep.
And then while we're talking about minions, I found this filet minion.
There you go.
That's funny to me. It's uplifting.
Okay.
It's refreshing. I would eat that.
Okay.
All right. Our next is the guy who hit his golf shot onto like the restaurant patio, it looks like, or a family's patio.
This guy went long. Can we let him
And they wave him in. And we're going to fast forward to his shot because they waste a lot of time and he eventually leaves and comes back. So we're going to fast forward to him taking his shot. Here he comes. And here's his shot. Shouldn't take practice swings on that.
Don't get nervous. In the hole. Quiet, guys.
That's good. Golf's good Americana.
Yeah.
It's good culture. People who play golf, it's a nice group of people. And then I saw this meme, which I thought was pretty funny. Finally finished a round using only one ball, so I designed and 3D printed a place for it to enjoy retirement.
Retired golf balls.
Just because you finished a round.
Not a hole-in-one, not an eagle or an albatross, just I didn't lose it.
All right, next clip is rocking horses.
Not what you think, though.
Well, this is, I guess, where rocking horses come from.
I don't know about that. I don't know if this predates the rocking horse.
I never knew rocking horses actually rocked.
They like it.
They like it. I don't know what it does. Maybe it stretches their back out or something.
Yeah, it feels good.
But this is where a rocking horse comes from.
No, I don't think so.
You think they did this after?
I don't
Rocking
think anybody
horses?
gave horses tools like that back in the day. Rocking
think
horses
they did.
was for little kids to pretend they're riding horses.
But it's the exact same.
I know, but I don't think it came first, brother. You think
Let us
this
know
came first? You think they were giving horses toys before they were giving human toys related to horses?
I think it's not a toy, more of like a tool, like to stretch them or to make their back not get stiff.
They didn't care.
There's
back
horse
then.
people in the comments. Let us know what that was used for and if that's an old ancient horse technique that people got inspired by and made rocking horses after, or if people made rocking horses and then after said, hey, let's put these horses on a rock thing.
Okay.
Let us know. I'd like to know.
Okay.
All right, this guy's trying to vacuum a spider. And you hear him just full yell, scream as loud as he can. That's pretty good. All right, next is the guy who made a Dirt Man song.
We're guys. We keep a little dirt under my pillow for the dirt man. In case he comes to town. What? Keep a little dirt under my pillow for the dirt man. So he won't take me down to his lair deep under the mountain. What are you talking about? Underground. That's where he keeps his dirt.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
I don't know.
You just read his whatever it's called, his handle.
Carter Vale Music.
Cool. It's good to shout him out. That was funny.
I like certain comedy and, music or comedy that creates a whole fake world.
Yeah.
You know?
Incredible.
That's a certain type of guy.
It's great. Our last clip of the whole show and the whole week, Trump was giving a speech in North Carolina, and he's behind the glass now. That's what he does. And a lady fainted in the crowd, and he went to go help her.
Imagine waking up from fainting and it's just Trump right in your face. You don't even know.
Standing over you. And he gives her a hug. That's nice. That's uplifting. Love that guy.
People drop at some of those rallies.
Yeah.
You get there early, it's hot all day, you're an old lady, you forget to drink the water, you don't want to give up your spot.
So that's what happened. That was the event. And then look at this story from Newsweek. Donald Trump suddenly stops rally and asks for a doctor, please.
That's just such shameless clickbait. That's
like as if he had like a medical emergency or something.
Yeah, but when he gets literally shot in the ear, gushing blood, they go, Donald Trump rally paused briefly. I don't get it. You can clickbait on one, but not the other one.
It's insane. Well, another Fleccas Talks in the books. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. FleccasTalks.com for an extra 30 minutes. Bonus land, if you guys are still watching.
Don't get smoked on a used car this weekend. Everyone say happy birthday, Fleccas, and have a lovely weekend.
Yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys in bonus land or on Tuesday.
Champagne supernova in the sky.